Bonjour tout le monde. Depuis 10 ans, le gouvernement autoritaire de Pékin essaie de supporter Justin Trudeau et de l'aider. Ça a commencé avec un don de 200 000 $ à la Fondation Trudeau et l'ingérence dans 2 élections consécutives pour aider les libéraux à gagner. Justin Trudeau est au courant de cette ingérence depuis une décennie. Il a caché. Il n'a absolument rien fait, sauf que nommer un ancien PDG de la Fondation Trudeau pour rédiger un rapport là-dessus. Le Parti conservateur veut mettre les Canadiens en premier, ramenant le gros bon sens chez nous et retourner le contrôle de notre démocratie aux Canadiens et aux Canadiennes. C'est la raison pour laquelle nous avons revendiqué une enquête publique et indépendante. Public et indépendant. Public et indépendant, ce sont des 2 choses qu'il faut avoir dans n'importe quelle enquête. Que fait Justin Trudeau? Exactement le contraire. Il veut un processus qui est secret et contrôlé. Secret et contrôlé. Secret parce qu'il veut que ce soit dans des comités qui entendent d'évidence et preuves secrètes, des témoignages secrets et des résultats secrets. Contrôlé parce que c'est son bureau qui est en charge de déterminer ce qui peut être dans tous les rapports de ce comité. Il ne veut pas la vérité parce qu'il ne veut pas que les Canadiens connaissent la vérité, parce qu'il sait que ça va l'impliquer dans le scandale de l'ingérence du gouvernement autoritaire de Pékin. Et en fait, la seule enquête vigoureuse qu'il veut, c'est pour cibler les dénonciateurs. C'est ça la priorité de Justin Trudeau. Ce n'est pas protéger notre démocratie de l'ingérence étrangère, c'est de se protéger politiquement en ciblant et en détruisant les dénonciateurs courageux qui ont publié ces secrets déjà. Donc, le Parti conservateur va continuer à demander une enquête indépendante et publique. Et, entre-temps, nous avons forcé une enquête ici au Parlement et nous revendiquons aux néo-démocrates d'arrêter le camouflage pour les libéraux et de permettre le témoignage des personnels de Justin Trudeau au comité parlementaire. C'est ce qu'il faut faire. Il nous faut la vérité. Il faut protéger nos propres intérêts nationaux ici au Canada. Thank you very much, everyone. For 10 years, the authoritarian dictatorship in Beijing has been supporting Justin Trudeau. They started by giving $200,000 to the Trudeau Foundation. They helped him in 2 consecutive elections. He's known about this for a decade. Are you telling me he didn't know that Beijing gave $200,000 to the Trudeau Foundation? Are you telling me that he didn't know that they interfered in 2 consecutive elections? Of course he knew. He was briefed multiple times, and he kept all of those briefings secret. And then, when he got caught, he hired the former CEO of the same Trudeau Foundation that had received the money from China to write a report about it. Now, he's trying to cover it up again with a secret process that he controls. We want the opposite. He wants a secret process. We want an open process. He wants to control it. We want it to be independent from him. And oh, by the way, he's going to appoint a special rapporteur, which of course will be another establishment liberal, appointed by him, that will come out and say everything is fine, let's just close the book and move on and let the dictatorship in Beijing once again interfere to help Justin Trudeau get re-elected. Conservatives want exactly the opposite of closed and controlled. We want open and independent. An open, independent, public inquiry to get to the truth and make sure it never happens again. We need to bring home control of our democracy, bring home control of our country, rather than allowing foreign dictatorships to manipulate our interests. We know that Justin Trudeau admires the basic communist dictatorship in Beijing. He said so. So it's no wonder they support him and they have worked hard to keep him in power. But we want the truth to come out, and we are going to continue to fight for that truth. We also want to bring home control of our economy. We know that the President of the European Commission is here today. Europe needs our natural gas. When Trudeau took office, we had 15 proposed natural gas export terminals on his desk. Not a single one has been completed. And the Japanese Prime Minister, the German Chancellor, now the European Commissioner are already all asking for our natural gas. And he's saying, no, go get it from Putin. He's helping fund foreign dictatorships by shutting out our industry. A conservative government led by Pierre Poilievre will quickly approve natural gas exports so we can shut down coal fire in Asia and replace it with clean gas, and replace European dependence on Putin with our clean, responsible energy. In other words, we'll turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people. We will bring it home. Thank you very much.
Monsieur Poilievre, vous avez parlé des dénonciateurs comme étant des dénonciateurs courageux. C'est pourtant contraire à la loi sur les secrets, etc., de révéler du renseignement. Pourquoi appuyez-vous leur démarche?
Mais c'est incroyable que les services de renseignement sont aussi inquiets, qu'ils sont prêts à faire ces genres de risques à leurs intérêts personnels afin d'exposer l'attaque contre nos démocraties que Justin Trudeau essaie de camoufler. C'est incroyable. Dans l'histoire de notre pays, on n'a jamais eu un service de renseignement aussi préoccupé avec un Premier ministre et sa collaboration avec un pouvoir étranger qui sont prêts à publier ce genre d'informations. Évidemment, ça fait des années où ces services ont essayé d'avertir le Premier ministre, mais il n'a rien fait. En fait, il a encouragé l'ingérence étrangère parce que c'était dans son intérêt et l'intérêt de son parti. Donc, évidemment, la priorité devrait d'arrêter et empêcher l'ingérence étrangère, mais la priorité de Justin Trudeau, c'est de persécuter les gens qui exposent cette ingérence. Ça montre encore que la priorité de Justin Trudeau, c'est de protéger ses propres intérêts politiques. I should just say that in English. It is actually incredible that we have this uprising at our intelligence body. This has never happened before. They must be very worried about how the Prime Minister is working against the interests of his own country and his own people. They've been warning him for years about this. And what has he done? He's covered it up, even encouraged it to continue. And so they are so concerned about how the Prime Minister is acting against Canada's interests and in favor of a foreign dictatorship's interests that they are actually releasing this information publicly. And what is Trudeau's priority? Not to stop the foreign interference. No, that's not the problem for him. The problem is the whistleblowers. But he's against a real investigation into the foreign interference we know happened, but in favor of a tough police investigation into the whistleblowers who are exposing it. This is Trudeau's quote. This is exactly what he did, but it's exactly what he did with Jody Wilson-Raybould. She spoke out against him helping a Liberal company get off criminal charges. He didn't go after the corruption. He went after the whistleblower. Same with Mark Norman. He spoke up, a respected admiral spoke up against Liberal corruption in the issuance of multi-billion-dollar contracts. And did he go after the corruption? No, he went after the whistleblower. He always stands up for the corruption, against the whistleblower, and in this case, against Canada's interests.
Will your party take part in any of these reviews? I'm thinking about the Intelligence Committee. Is your party going to take part in any of this?
We're not going to remove ourselves from any of these reviews, but we're going to continue to demand an independent and open public investigation.
But are you saying that there is nobody that can act as a special rapporteur that will meet your
well, we'll see, but we know the last few times, you know, he picked a Liberal staffer to oversee the Emergencies Act review. He picked, if I could, well, of course he could pick someone independent, but he won't. He'll pick another Liberal establishment insider, a real Ottawa insider with some gray hair, who looks like a reasonable fellow, but we all know that it will be someone tied to him, tied to the Liberals, here to protect the Liberal establishment, just like the former head of the Trudeau Foundation that received money from Beijing, whom he named to oversee the report on Chinese.
But are you
interference.
Have you ordered a review of your nomination processes in the Conservative Party?
Sorry?
Have you ordered a review of your own nomination processes in the Conservative Party as a result of all these revelations?
We've told told the party that we need to stand up against any form of foreign interference, and if anyone brings it to my attention, I will root it out. Furthermore, I would encourage CSIS to tell leaders of all political parties if there is any attempt by any foreign government to interfere or infiltrate their nominations or their election campaigns. And if I ever see evidence that there has been, I will act aggressively to put an end to it immediately, which is exactly the opposite of what Justin Trudeau did when his top campaign officials were briefed about evidence of interference by Beijing in one of their nominations.
But how do you boycott, or will you help picking a special rapporteur?
We've told them we want to, we don't think there's why do we need a special rapporteur? What does this rapporteur even do? It sounds like a fake job. We need someone who actually has a real work plan. And what we said is we need an independent and open investigation headed by someone approved by all parties in the House of Commons, not another liberal establishment Ottawa insider.
Last question. On the committee, so you're saying you're not going to remove yourself, you're not going to remove your MPs from this review. Can you tell me if if there is a review, you will take part in it then? You will participate?
We're not removing people from anything. We're going to demand more.
How do you have an open investigation, a public inquiry, when we're dealing with CSIS and national security secrets? Even the former campaign director of your party for the last election has raised doubts about the practicality of that actually working. So how could that work in your mind?
These things happen all the time when there are matters sensitive to national security that end up in the court of law. Judges can find a way to put in place a publication ban to protect information that is that needs to be protected in order to preserve the national security. That happens all the time. And that's why you have to,
how would the public get
the public should get all of the information. The bias should be in favor of more information, not less. Only the information that could imperil our national interest should be withheld, but that is a very small amount, and we, the Canadians, should be able to know how the dictatorship in Beijing interfered in order to help Justin Trudeau.
C'est le spécial.
He called it a trap and a trick that Trudeau would bring in MPs from your party. And
they're already in.
Well, why are you going to participate in something?
So if I could correct the falsehood in your question. The question was yesterday was whether I would go in and personally get briefed about secrets of the state.
But how is that?
And the answer, if I could answer your question, and the answer I gave was, of course not, because then I would use that to silence me from speaking out any further. It would then become illegal for me to speak out. Now, how is that different than the current so-called NSICOP committee? We already have 2 members of parliament who are sworn to secrecy who are on that committee. It hasn't been very effective, but it's better than nothing. But we actually need is an independent and open public investigation to get to the bottom of interference by Beijing or any other foreign dictatorship in our democracy. It's time to bring home our democracy.
Juste un rapport spécial.
Yes.